Hello, I want to come on here today and talk about the difference between spirituality and spiritual bypassing. So there seems to be this idea in some circles or among some people that spirituality or spiritual people, that it's somehow and they are somehow disconnected from reality, that they don't want to look at things that are hard or uncomfortable, and that they somehow just want some kind of comfort, and that is all about love and light, the kind of fluffy type of love and light. So I want to say that that is not spirituality, that is spiritual bypassing, and they are two very different things. So real spiritual practices and spirituality is not for the faint-hearted. And when I say real, I don't mean that there's only one type of spirituality that is real. We all have different paths. And whether you're on a Venus path, goddess, divine feminine path, starseed awakening path, or even a religious path, if you're doing the spiritual work, now with work, that can be different things, but it can be journal, meditation, prayer. Those two, I think, especially meditation is kind of up there at the top. I think that needs to be there, or whether it's outspokenly meditation practice that you're practicing, or if it's just prayer or silent contemplation. But I would call all of that a type of meditation. And so meditation, prayer, silent contemplation, journaling. It can be group practices, or you can practice by yourself, or you can do both. You can work with spiritual coaches and listen and read to different spiritual teachers, and also do clearing practices, rituals, whatever it is you do. If you are doing the actual spiritual work, then it will push you to look at stuff and things that you didn't really want to look at and that are uncomfortable. So don't get me wrong, there are blissful moments, and I would say especially at the beginning, that's how it was for me when I started out by meditating 7 years ago, and there were very blissful moments where I just felt like I was in a state of infinite love and bliss. But if you continue to do the work, there will be things that come up that you didn't want to look at, but you are now forced to look at it because you cannot escape it. So if you're doing the deep work, it's not just going to be love and light. I mean, love and light, not the fluffy type, but the real love and light, is the destination, you could say, or it is what we bring in during these practices. But this is a quote, and I can't remember where it is from, or who said it, but love, and I would say love and light, but love brings up everything that is unlike itself. So if you bring that love in, you could say, or you bring the God essence in, you bring in your awareness of yourself as a part of infinite love, that will bring up anything that is unlike that. It will bring up everything that is unreal, all the illusions, all of the ideas we have about ourselves, all the memories, all of the traumas, whatever it might be that we have not wanted to look at, and we have maybe distracted ourselves from by doing anything but spiritual work, anything but silent meditation, that is going to come up and we are going to be forced to look at it. So I would say real spirituality and spiritual practices they are not for the faint-hearted. And I'm sure none of you are faint-hearted, but what I'm trying to say is when people try to say that spiritual people are this and that, and that they are somehow disconnected from reality, or that they just want, or that they don't want to look at anything that is uncomfortable, then they're talking about people who are practicing spiritual bypassing. That's a very different thing. It's, you can also call it spiritual escapism. It is doing some practices some of the time, maybe doing a little bit of that, a little bit of whatever it might be. That it's not that the practices are bad to do, it's that they might just dabble with some practices, or maybe just put up a front that they are spiritual, or that they are practicing spirituality, and maybe even there's many reasons why people might practice this kind of spiritual escapism, but it is not real spiritual practice. And again, I'm not saying that there's any particular path that is the right path. I am just saying that if you're doing the work, it will not just be comfortable and cute all of the time. So, at the same time as, you won't be coddled, basically, in a real spiritual path. Don't get me wrong, there are moments when we can find great comfort from our spiritual practices a lot of the time, but it will also bring you to very uncomfortable truths, very uncomfortable, having to look at very uncomfortable things to be able to heal it and release it. So it will also mean that possibly your life will change in very big ways. First, it will change internally and then possibly externally. And if we're not ready for that, and if we don't really want those changes, or we're not ready for it, then we should be obviously tread carefully, because it is not for the faint-hearted to practice spirituality and to have a real spiritual daily practice. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say, only because I come across quite a few people mentioning spirituality in that way, but I know that what they're talking about is spiritual bypassing as well as spiritual escapism, and that is not what we're doing if we're on a real spiritual path. So thank you for listening. See you soon.